Everybody, and welcome to Big Sky Sounds. I'm Ann Harrigan, Music Director of the Billings Symphony, and we're here celebrating our 75th anniversary. I couldn't be happier to have with us our very, very special guest, Gil Shaham, violin. Welcome to Montana.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
This is a momentous occasion, celebrating our 75th season. We started in 1951.
Amazing.
And to have you here on the stage with us is, of course, a lifelong dream of mine, I can say. Thrilled.
You're too kind, too kind.
Not at all. I have listened to you for many years and love the way you play, and the orchestra is so excited to be sharing the stage with you. For audiences who don't know Mr. Shaham, if I can embarrass people a little bit.
Please call me Gil.
Yeah. Okay, Gil.
Yeah.
If you could see Tiger Woods live, would you come? Yes.
No. Wow.
Of course, I say Caitlin Clark, but I'm a basketball fan.
Oh, she's amazing too.
So, but we're thrilled to have somebody of your immense talent to come, and I think you're going to have a great time because the Billings Symphony is an orchestra that just lives every note of what we play. So we're going to have a great time together.
Thank you. I can't wait. I'm very honored to be here. I'm so looking forward to rehearsals and concert. Yeah, and we have such a great program with you do Debussy and Stravinsky Firebird.
Yes.
And then we'll play Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto.
So for those of you who aren't here in the audience, this is our pre-concert talk, so you may already be in the auditorium waiting with bated breath for the performance, or you may be seeing this on Community 7 a few days before. So if you aren't in the auditorium right now and we're a couple days ahead of time, run, don't walk to the ABT, or give us a call, billingssymphony.org. You can click a button and get your tickets. Well, let's jump in and talk about you a little bit. So you have been playing the violin for a minute.
Yes, I guess. So I think maybe I started a little bit later than a lot of violinists. I was 7, almost 8, when I started.
How did you ever catch up?
Really, it's true. Like I'm very lucky to be married to a wonderful violinist, and Adele started playing. She was 2 years old.
2 years old.
Yeah, I guess her dad used to play, and she used to follow him around the house with a violin.
And
yeah, and you started violin also, right? I mean, before
did.
Becoming a conductor, you were a violinist.
I did. I started when I was 13, so very late. And I wanted to play the clarinet, and the school I had didn't have a music program. We couldn't afford it, and so when I went to junior high school, I came in. I said, "All right, I'm ready to play the clarinet," and they said, "You can't. You'd be behind. You'll never catch up." And so they said, "But maybe the orchestra will take you." And so I did. I played the violin, and I haven't looked back. Love the instrument.
Yeah, and still playing.
It's still playing, but in a different fashion. So you started when you were 7, and you grew up in Champaign-Urbana, I've just found out.
Yeah, I mean, I was born in Champaign-Urbana.
You were born there, yes.
My parents were both Israeli. Actually, I guess my family's claim to fame was being 10th generation in Jerusalem, going back to the 1700s.
That is a claim to fame, fantastic.
And I guess I broke that chain. I was born in Champaign-Urbana, where my parents were at the university.
I see.
But my childhood was really there in Jerusalem. So I grew up there, and then we moved to New York when I was 10. I've been there ever since.
That's fantastic. And you come from a family of scientists, you said.
Right, both my parents were scientists. My father was a physicist. My mom is a geneticist. And yeah, I guess they loved music, and they would always take us to concerts, even when we were very little kids. And the three of us, the kids, I have an older brother and a younger sister, we have one memory of our parents. One day, my mom sat down at the piano, and my dad reached into the back of our little piano room there and took out his violin, and they sight read a Beethoven sonata. I think might have been the slow movement of the G major sonata.
Fantastic.
And yeah, and I guess it must have made an impression. It was just, this is kind of a special thing that people do.
Oh, so this is before you started playing?
This is before I started playing.
Oh, fun. Yeah. And that inspired you to play?
Maybe. It's sort of a distant memory.
But it did. I mean, was there a time you came back here to New York from Israel when you were about 10, And I know at this point you had already started playing, you were 7, so did things take off pretty quickly for you, or was it a slow burn? How was that?
Yeah, I guess once I came to New York, then it was a new language and a new city. Jerusalem was really a small town in comparison to New York.
Yes.
And it was an adjustment. And I think, anyway, that age is kind of maybe not the easiest age. And my way of dealing with that was I went into my room and practiced violin. So I became really serious about violin then. I would put in many hours. And then I guess during high school, I was very lucky to have some invitations to play concerts, and I really thought, oh, okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can make a living playing music.
I mean, was there a day that you sort of said, all right, this is what I want to do. I'm going to focus all my efforts, or was it more of a gradual development?
Maybe more gradual. I don't remember. What about for you? What would you say? How was it?
Oh gosh, I wanted to be an high school teacher. I had a teacher that was my Mr. Holland's opus, my inspiration. I wanted to be just like him. And then I went to Peabody Conservatory, and then I found that for me, practicing 8 hours a day in a practice room wasn't the right fit. Maybe I was too social. And I really enjoyed history and philosophy, and I enjoyed people, and so I started an orchestra at Johns Hopkins University.
Which is amazing. So you brought up this orchestra by yourself, and actually you said it was 2 orchestras, right?
It was 2 orchestras. I let that one go. We were talking about my teacher, Danny Heifetz, convinced me that I needed to focus on my violin studies. So that orchestra was very funny. With your parents as scientists, you'll understand. I had rehearsals on a Thursday night, but if there was an organic chemistry test the next day, I had nobody in the orchestra because Hopkins is a very science-based college. And so, but then I did let that go, and then I finished my violin studies. We were talking about my senior recital, and went on to graduate studies with Mr. Otto Werner Mueller, who you played for under occasion.
Yes, in youth orchestra, yeah.
And came back and realized the only way that I was ever going to be hired was if I started my own orchestra. So that was a minute ago, 1983. So it's it was a different sort of thing, but it was definitely, I don't know, I sort of found myself in front of the podium because I just love the orchestra. I mean, for me, I remember, and I'll be talking about this actually in October, the first time I ever saw an orchestra, I was sitting in it, and I was in the 7th grade. When was the first time that you heard an orchestra?
Just now as you're asking, I was remembering being a very small child, and my parents used to take us to the Israel Philharmonic Orchestra. Mm-hmm. They would come by to Jerusalem. They were based in Tel Aviv, but every once in a while they would come to Jerusalem, and that was a big event, And look, orchestra is magic, right? Is. There's something, even when you walk into the hall and they start tuning, there's something about that that's, it's really magic.
So you're playing the Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto, which you have recorded at least 3 times. You have, I believe, 7 performances on YouTube, and you've probably performed it, 50, 100 times, and yet you still love the piece?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. It's just the greatest piece. I think we were speaking earlier. I know a couple of young people who. The one young woman, she fell in love with the Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto, and her dad told me, she's just listens to the Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto over and over and over again, and she keeps coming to the big orchestral tune, the big tutti in A major, and she listens to that big, arrival, and then she rewinds back and listens to it again. And I remember doing that as a kid too. I used to listen to a recording of Isaac Stern and Eugene Ormandy in the Philadelphia Orchestra.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And there's something about how that piece drives to that melody. And then once the melody comes, it's so incredibly satisfying. Yeah, it's very special. Yeah.
It is a special piece, and there's something about the writing, the partnership with the orchestra and the violin. the sense of the longing, the sense of joy, everything is packaged into a very short period of time if you think about the span of our lives. Here we are in this moment sharing all of this passion that Tchaikovsky has poured into the violin, poured into your violin playing. And you have a distinctive sound, I'm sure. Have you ever identified it and said, I'm going to play this way? How do you approach the violin? I hear specific things, but I'm curious, what do you work for? Or what did you work for when you were younger?
Oh, I don't really know. It's a great question because it's always so difficult to talk about sound.
Yes.
But I think, our job is so similar to the job of an actor. We go on stage and we try to bring to life the ideal that's on the page, that the author left for us. And so I guess I try to inhabit as much as I can the role that Tchaikovsky gave the violinist. For a man who had such a tortured life, Tchaikovsky,
yes.
This piece was written in a brief period of great happiness, and I think you hear that in this piece. I mean, the piece is maybe traditional Beethovenian struggle, right? It's D minor versus D major. It starts with this beautiful sunny D major melody. And the wind, it's all major, but then and the oboe comes in with D minor.
Yes.
And from that moment on, the plot thickens. And it's this traditional battle between D minor and D major. And at the end, it's just the most joyous
It is.
D major resolution of all the threads.
It's amazing. I mean, how many years later we still get so much joy from live music and from this piece. And I know I listened to many, many recordings, but when you hear live music, it's so different. It's going to be such a fantastic experience, and hearing the orchestra responding to all the things that you're talking about, it's going to be fantastic. Now we have a youth orchestra with our organization, the Billings Symphony Youth Orchestra, and we'll have quite a few of our students in the audience. So listening today, so what advice for them do you have?
Wow, I don't know. I think music is something you have to love doing. You never know what your future is going to be. It's a very unusual life, being a musician in today's world. But in a way, now is the most convenient time to be a musician. With technology, we've really been set free. We can reach audiences at the touch of a button. We can do so many things that we couldn't do before. So it's a very exciting time to be a musician. What do you say to young people?
Well, as far as people wanting to have a career in music, oftentimes parents come to me.
Right.
And I'll say the same thing. It says, if your child can do anything else, or will do anything else, do it.
Right.
But if this is the only thing they can think of, and this is absolutely what they want to do, follow with all your heart. And we have an intern program with the Billings Symphony, and we have dozens of interns. One of them started when she was 12 years old, and she's our current assistant concertmaster. One of them was a high school intern for many years, went to Hart School of Music, I believe, back playing in our orchestra. So thrilled that he's here. We have a cellist, but we have many. We have one who is a resident, I believe, in psychiatry right now in Milwaukee. We have one who's worked for NASA. And they've brought the music and the Billings Symphony with them. So my advice would be, whether or not you choose a career in music, you'll always have that music with you, and to have it in your heart, it's a real gift. And so it's...
am I remembering correctly, wasn't Tchaikovsky, did he go to medical school?
I believe so.
Right, there was a time when Tchaikovsky could have become a doctor.
Can you imagine?
And how lucky are we that pieces like this,
Yeah.
what a miracle. We're so lucky to have these.
It is absolutely a miracle. Once more, if you are listening ahead of the concert is this Saturday at the Alberta Bear Theatre at 7:30 p.m. To check us out at billingssymphony.org, or you can show up at the ABT on Saturday. They have tickets at the door. This is going to be an experience of a lifetime, I know that. Our 75th season, it'll never come around again, our opening concert. And so I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. And let's just take a couple minutes to talk about the other pieces on the program. The Debussy Fête, I'm sure you're aware of it. It's the second movement in the series of the Debussy nocturnes, and so it's brilliant. I picked it for the opening of the season. You know, it's got this éclaté, this French word of, you know, a bursting of light, and almost like musical fireworks coming out and celebrating and welcoming our audience. So welcome to the ABT. Thank you for sharing with us. And it's just nothing but celebration. And then it goes into this wonderful muted trumpet fanfare. And it sort of sets the stage back a little bit. And then back again to the celebration, very quick. And then we're moving into the Firebird Suite. So for me, a very important piece. I'll be talking to audience members a very little bit. There's a short period of time, but maybe for those who came early, it's a fairy tale. It's the ultimate fairy tale. Diaghilev really wanted to show the Russian traditions, and Stravinsky was very young. He wanted a job. You know, it was his first job with the Ballet Russe. He wasn't living in Paris at the time. And so he did whatever the choreographer, which Fokine, I think, was the choreographer, and choreographer said, all right, I want this music here, I want this here. And he painted this picture. So when you start, there's this dark forest, and it's very cold because everybody, I take it back, not everybody, all the men have been turned to stone. All the princesses are hanging around, but the men are turned to stone, all the knights, and this young Prince Ivan comes in, and he happens to see this beautiful creature dancing as if nobody's watching. And she's this brilliant orange against all of this dark coldness. And now I have to tell you that Walt Disney was a huge fan of Stravinsky.
Right.
And he knew the Firebird Suite. He used it in Fantasia.
In Fantasia, that's
Yes.
how I first heard the piece.
Right?
Yeah.
I think Tinkerbell comes, right? With all the fairy dust, the pixie dust. The Firebird emanated this magic dust, and you can hear it in the music. And she's captured by Prince Ivan, and she convinces him to let her go, and she'll give him a feather. And you hang onto that feather, if you need it, I'll come a-calling. And he does. He lets her go. Bright young man. Sure enough, he falls in love with a young princess, and he goes to rescue her from the evil Kachai. And the evil Kachai and his minions begin to turn him into stone, and as the last bit of his being turned into stone, he remembers the feather, right? He remembers the feather, and all of a sudden the Firebird appears, and it's so interesting what happens afterwards. She and the sorcerer Kachai, they force all the minions to dance in this crazy dance called the Kachai's dance, or the infernal dance, because they're dancing around like crazy puppets. And then she lulls him to sleep. And she kills him by putting him to sleep and destroying the egg, which is a Russian fairy tale. Happily ever after, everybody's married, it's beautiful. But it's so interesting because there's so many different colors and personalities in this very short, we're doing a 20-minute segment, it's called a suite. A suite is a segment of a larger ballet. The original ballet was about 45, 50 minutes, I think. And so here we have Stravinsky, Tchaikovsky, Debussy, in a fantastic package, and I think that we're going to have a wonderful time.
Absolutely iconic music, you know, and just makes the orchestra sound splendid, you know, it's really, yeah, favorite, my personal favorite, and I'm sure many other people's favorite music.
It will be, absolutely. I want to thank you again for talking with me today, and welcome to Billings. I think this is your first time, possibly.
I think that's right. I think that's right.
And so we'll let you have a chance now, virtually go back and warm up. And for everybody in the audience, we'll see you in a few minutes. And if you're listening on Community 7, come visit us on billingssymphony.org. This is Big Sky Sounds. I'm Ann Harrigan. Thank you.